Hey guys, welcome back to the James Bond Show. I'm your host, Krazy Kajeevie, with no fears, limits, or substitutes. Now, this is an interesting video, guys. What I'm doing with this one is I want to do a passionate plea to you guys about The Man with the Golden Gun. Roger Moore's second James Bond film, released in 1974, which I think is an incredibly underrated film. But this is not a review of The Man with the Golden Gun. What this is me talking about the fact that I think, well, a fact to me, and in my opinion, that I believe The Man with the Golden Gun is a free hit. Now, what do I mean by that? A free hit is a James Bond film that we should never have got. And because of that reason, I believe we are really lucky to have it. Now, I want to ask everyone out there a question, especially those that continually, excuse my French, continually shit on this film. If you had a choice, you could press a button out of two buttons, button A and button B. Button A says remove The Man with the Golden Gun from canon, and you never get to watch it. It's gone. Doesn't exist. Poof. Gonski. Second button says keep The Man with the Golden Gun as canon, and you can always watch it whenever you want to watch it. What would you press? I'm going to guess that all of you would press keep The Man with the Golden Gun. Button 2, button B. You'd keep it because it's James Bond. But what a lot of us do is we crap on this film, and I think part of the problem and the reason that people do this is because when you watch it in sequence, you've got a very full-on and arguably a better film than The Man with the Golden Gun. And this isn't to say The Man with the Golden Gun is a great film. It's got its problems, it's got its issues. I get that. But we're still very lucky to have it. And when you compare it to Live and Let Die, and the action in Live and Let Die, the intrigue, the look and feel and everything of Live and Let Die, The Man with the Golden Gun doesn't quite come up to that film. I get that. And then it comes after. And what is it sandwiched in between? What comes after The Man with the Golden Gun? You've got a film with pretty much triple the budget, that has incredible cinematography, model miniatures, set pieces, Roger Moore at his peak in The Spy Who Loved Me. The Man with the Golden Gun isn't as good as The Spy Who Loved Me, and it's not quite as good as Live and Let Die. So people kind of really do shit on it, and they don't look at some of the good qualities. But why is it a free hit? Why is it the film that we almost did not get? Well, in 1973, at the end of 73, Live and Let Die was the biggest hit since Thunderball. A lot of people don't realise that. It made up, I believe it was up over, I believe it was between 137 and 160 million. It was a massive hit, okay, huge hit. So what did the makers, it actually wasn't really the filmmakers, it was David Picker at United Artists. What they wanted to do was rush the next James Bond film into production. And they wanted a 1974 release. So pretty much as soon as Live and Let Die had finished, especially the promotional stuff, they were getting ready in pre-production to get The Man with the Golden Gun, to get it ready and to get it out to theatres. That was the objective of United Artists. So of course the producers, Cubby and Harry Saltzman, they set out to do this. Now of course, because they rushed it, and it wasn't the strongest script by Ian, sorry, the strongest novel by Ian Fleming, because he died, basically the book was released 8 months after his death, so he didn't get to polish it up. Not that the filmmakers went strongly by the novels anyway, as we all know. Sometimes they just use a title and maybe a few little pieces in between. But what happened is they rushed the film out, but did they put effort into the film? Are there good things in the film? Yes, of course, and I'll get to those in a moment. But what actually happened was, thankfully, they got this out in 1974. Now, if United Artists had not bothered to put the pressure on the producers and say, okay, because they had been doing the one film every 2 years since after Thunderball. Man with the Golden Gun, as all you guys will know, was the first film that they did back-to-back since Thunderball to Goldfinger, okay? Now, in 75, when they would have actually been in pre-production to make The Man with the Golden Gun and bring it out at the end of, mid to end of 1975, we would not have got the film, because suddenly Harry Saltzman is in huge financial issue. Now, instead of selling his shares to Cubby Broccoli, which I believe he should have done, and would have given Cubby Broccoli basically the sole ownership of all the rights, he didn't. He sold his shares to MGM. Now, what a lot of people don't realise is, all the Timothy Dalton fans that wish they got that third Timothy Dalton Bond film. Now, we could have got it, obviously, if Dalton had come back in Goldeneye in 1995, which I think he should, and that's a whole nother video for another day. However, the legal rights that happened in 1990 and 91, when Timothy Dalton's third Bond film was supposed to come out in 1991, a lot of people believe it was going to be Property of a Lady. That was supposed to come out in 1991. The reason it didn't is it's all tied back to the legal issues that happened when Harry Saltzman decided to sell his shares to MGM, United Artists. So what happened is, when the legal issues happened in around 1990, the ownership rights were tied up in that legal debacle. And that all stems back to the decision of Harry selling his rights to the film studio instead of Cubby Broccoli. So, curse you, Harry, curse you. So, if they had gone ahead and tried to push the film into production in 1975, they would not have been able to do it. We would have had the legal nightmare that did happen. We would have had it happening right at the start of production for that film. So, that is why Man with a Golden Gun is a free hit. We got this film. It may not be the greatest Bond film in the world, but we got it, and it's there. And if they didn't rush it into production, we wouldn't have it. So let's have a look at what we have. I think that the criticism, and as I said before, this is not a Man with a Golden Gun film review, but I will look at certain parts of it. I think that Roger Moore, I think this is one of his best performances. Now, as a former filmmaker and director of actors, I'm telling you, this is a brilliant performance by him. He gets lazily critiqued, and even Maud Adams came out and said, oh, I think it was a mistake, then trying to make him like Connery. Lewis Gilbert, when he was doing The Spy Who Loved Me, apparently said to the producers, I thought it was a mistake, they're trying to make him too much like Connery. Well, to that I say complete bullshit, because the problem with Roger Moore in Live and Let Die, he was too smooth. He was too cool, darling this, darling that. There was no edge to him. And it was actually Harry Saltzman that pushed more. He wanted an edge, and I believe Cubby did as well. They wanted more of an edge on Roger Moore, no pun intended. And so that's why in the scene where he slaps around Anders, and I've seen people review this film, and most review it badly, and one person that I saw review it recently said that he did his video years ago, but I've just seen his video recently. He actually showed clips of Roger Moore as Bond at the table with Scaramanga talking about being a gentleman, and then he shows clips of Bond earlier in the film slapping Maud Adams' character Anders around, and then he would cut back to it like, oh, look at the hypocrisy here, his James Bond is not really a gentleman. And again, on that I call bullshit, because this is a man, and it's an earlier stage of the film in The Man with the Golden Gun when he does that. This is a man that needs to get this information. He needs to know where Scaramanga is and who Scaramanga is, because you've got to remember, right? You've got to remember that in Bond's mind, Scaramanga has a hit out on him. and he's going to kill him. Bond doesn't know at this stage that it's actually Anders that has sent the bullet with the 007 in it. So Bond's life is on the line. So it makes absolute sense, and also from the James Bond in the novel, that he's going to slap this woman around because he needs the information, and it's life or death for him. Also, if you have a look at the Man with the Golden Gun and you look at today what's going on with all the garbage about climate change and getting rid of fossil fuels and everything and renewable energies, and then you have a look at the subplot of the Man with the Golden Gun with the, what's it called, the Solex agitator, blah, blah, blah. You look at all that and it's so current. Also, if we didn't get the Man with the Golden Gun in 1974, we wouldn't have got what I consider, and I know a lot of you guys do too, one of the best all-time villain lairs in Scaramanga's Island Lair, which is bloody brilliant. And of course, Derek Medding's model miniature effects work in this film is absolutely outstanding. From the exterior of the lair, inside the lair, when it all blows up, that's all model miniature work, and it is absolutely incredible. Also, we wouldn't have got Hervé Villechaize as Nick Nack, and I love him as Nick Nack. He's so watchable all the time because he's always got that goofy, cute, fun little smile. And there's this great little relationship between him and Scaramanga, and there's also a cool little relationship between he and James Bond. Also, what this other reviewer said was, how come, you know, he said that Roger Moore's James Bond is inconsistent, that he's too afraid to beat up on a midget at the end of the film, yet he's happy to slap around a woman. It's a completely different thing. At the end of the film, when he takes on Nick Nack, yeah, he knows he's fighting a midget. He's also beaten Scaramanga. He's killed Scaramanga. He's blown up his base. He's won the battle. He doesn't need to go hard and kill Nick Nack. You know, and he doesn't see Nick Nack as the same sort of threat that Scaramanga was. And Nick Nack is what? He's armed with bottles, throwing champagne at him. So, oh, it just does my head in, guys. It's so many people, so-called Bond fans and reviewers. I'm happy for everyone to have an opinion, but make it based on fact and analyse it a bit more instead of criticising the film lazily when you're not looking deep enough at it. Now, also, we've got one of the greatest film stunts ever put to film, the car flip, the car roll. Unbelievable. 360 spin in the air. Yes, John Barry hurt this scene by putting in the slide whistle. We all know that. It's just absolute fact. But at least we have that great stunt. And again, if we didn't have the Man with the Golden Gun as a free hit, we wouldn't have that. We've also got the Fun Palace that's very entertaining. It's not the greatest and most exciting pre-title sequence of all the Bond films. Probably ranks in my bottom 4, maybe bottom 5. But there's also really good, intriguing elements in that. Also, the cinematography at the start with the island, the setup of Scaramanga and Anders and Nick Nack is fantastic. It looks absolutely stunning. Also, what this film did for the nation of Thailand, creating basically James Bond Island, that region since 1974, I mean, it's 48 years ago, has given them the most incredible tourism with millions of people visiting there since then. And it's an incredible part of tourism in that part of Thailand. And that's because the Man with the Golden Gun got made in 74 before it would have been shut down or not put into production in 1975. Also, we do have Sheriff J.W. Pepper back, and again, this isn't a film review, so I'm not going to go into everything, but some people bag the film because, well, he shouldn't have been there. And yeah, look, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for this. You know, he is a bit of a racist redneck, but it was a very different time. But I love Sheriff J.W. Pepper. I think he's got just... the comic timing of Clifton James was brilliant. We've also got, I actually love the Man with the Golden Gun theme song by Lulu. If you listen to the lyrics actually make sense. And it's another James Bond theme that is often in the bottom of people's lists and put down. But I think it's fantastic. It's very Bondy. Now, is the pace perfect in this film? No, it's not. But the pace wasn't perfect in a lot of James Bond films, even Live and Let Die. I think the best pace in probably the Roger Moore films would be, believe it or not, on a filmmaker level, I think it's probably Moonraker. Moonraker's got incredible pacing. I also do love the pacing in For Your Eyes Only. It also has a lot of action. But guys, that's pretty much what I've got for you. I want you to consider this, and I want you all to go back this weekend, put on The Man with the Golden Gun, look at it with a fresh set of eyes from a perspective of, we have it, we almost didn't have it, would you rather have it or would you not have it? And on that, I'm also going to do an addition of this on Never Say Never Again, another film that we almost didn't have and that is continually shat on, and I think really unfairly. So thanks guys for joining me here. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button, drop a like, ring the bell so you get notifications as well, and more than anything, read a comment. I love reading your comments, and let me know whether you agree with me or you don't, and what you think of this, and what are your favourite or unfavourite parts about The Man with the Golden Gun. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Till next time, keep on bonding and say hi to your mum for me. See ya!